Okay, I'm going to try and cover as much of this as I can. So a continuation to 2024. I was talking about the solar eclipse. Now, I have a lot of information on this. First off, I'm going to read you a dream I had about it. Right here, actually, I had two. But, yeah. This one was March 10th of 2016. And this is on my Lost and Weary page. Any of the dreams and stuff that I say, they're on there. They're hidden, but you got to find them. You can always type it in the search bar too, just a couple words or whatever, and most of the time they pop up. Excuse me. So I dreamt that I was at my old house that burnt down, which was in battleground, and was outside. While being outside, I saw the clouds move, and then all of a sudden the solar eclipse. I saw the sliver of the moon and the orangish glow like a ring. I'm going to stop there. Have you guys noticed the moon with the halo around it? Okay, here we go. Now, I'm going to be bouncing back and forth because I have a reason. The start of Nisan on the Hebrew calendar, Rosh Chodesh Nisan for the Hebrew year 5784 begins at sundown on Monday, April 8th, 2024, and ends at nightfall on Tuesday, April 9th, the start of the month of Nisan, the Hebrew year. Let me continue. All right, there was a person next to me, and I said, do you see that? She said, yes, I do. I said, it's the wedding ring eclipse. And if you, what was it, last year, 2016, whatever, we ended up having an eclipse. Hold on, somebody's here. Anyways, so then I stood outside and I watched it till it disappeared. The only thing it didn't disappear, it turned into a planet that was spiraling and was bright orange with rings around it. Someone said it was Neptune. I truly believe that this is wormwood. I believe this is in two-part fulfillment. I will explain that in the Bible. And then, so the next thing I knew, I was running and wound up in the hills and the rocks and saw this planet get closer and closer. Tons and tons of people was outside watching it. Some were scared, but I was fascinated. This planet got in plain view, like arm's reach, and was bright, bright red. This was planet Nibiru. Looked like it had an orange glow around it because it was moving so fast. I heard the words, be patient, I am patient with you. It's coming. The next thing I know, this planet is flying across the earth, and I saw a huge eye in the sky. And it was beautiful, and I knew it was God's eye. I saw March 2016, I am coming. Be still and know that I am coming faster than you think, and I woke up. Now, at the time, I really thought, oh, 2016, because I was new into understanding dreams, because I started getting my dreams in 2014, and then I had like 3 of them my whole life prior to that. But my point to that is it's these dreams, okay, just because it said March, other prophetic events happened since then. So the two-part fulfillment is what I wanted to talk about. I had someone ask me a very good question, and it was, do you think that the eclipse and pretty much wormwood is the same thing? No. On a biblical standpoint, I do not. The first one is because in Revelation 12, it says that 1/3 of the stars get cast down. That's when Satan gets cast down. He does not have his power yet. Okay? So everyone thinks, oh, it's a whole 7 years that he's going to rule. No, it's a whole 42 months he rules. Okay, so this would be the part of the eclipse when 1/3 of the stars come falling down. Big old mouse about that big ran on my patio. That is so weird. We have a bunch of field mice. Anyways, I get distracted easy. So so when the planet comes at that time, the eclipse, excuse me, not the planet, the eclipse, then I believe 1/3 of the stars come, and then that is when the full tribulation, or whatever people want to call it, begin. We're at the ending of the beginning of sorrows, which is our tribulation, which we are in. I can't say that enough. Okay, and people were thinking, oh, the rapture is going to be at the first of the year. Well, here's the thing. Just like a type in shadow that said March of 2016, and yet we're still here 8 years later. Why? Well, because it's God's calendar, not ours. Does that make sense? So I believe March, something big is going to happen. I believe it's the military. Boots on the ground. That's for another Bible study. So anyways, the other part of this that I wanted to read was this. June 2nd of 2016, I also had a dream. And it was a very long dream. I was in a school with a lot of kids, but parents were there all day with their kids. The shades were all down, and I was handed a pair of blue glasses. The teacher said, we need to protect our eyes from the planets and sun. Solar eclipse. I ended up taking over the class and started preaching about June 3rd peace and then rapture shortly after. There are these teachers that was singing some song about Jesus. Well, then I go to leave because it was the last day of school and got switched into my mother and to my in-laws' home. I saw my nieces and was telling my in-laws, are you saved? I was in tears, hysterically asking them to repent and accept Christ. I asked my sister-in-law if she is saved. She said, I pray and talk to God sometimes. I took her by her face and tried to tell her over and over about accepting Christ because Friday is a peace agreement and then the rapture is shortly after. I said it could be the day of, the day after, a week later, we don't know, but we know it triggers the rapture. Very important. That's what I want to say. Just because you get all these other details and dates doesn't mean that it's our date. That could be God's date in heaven because one day is 1,000 years, remember? Okay, so she started praying and talking to God right then and there, and it sounded like an annoyance prayer, like she was doing it to shut me up. I then saw my nieces and a whole bunch of kids. I was trying to spend my last day with them because I knew I was going home. This is where I've said 1,000 times on my other channel, I believe the day of the rapture we will know. Spiritually, every watchman is going to know. And I know it's in the moment, in the twinkling of an eye, but I also feel like it's going to be a transformation process for us to leave. We are going to know. We have to know. And then it said I was trying, okay, so the scene switched. I was then on the road at a junkyard with my husband in the truck, and he was saying that the people at the school absolutely loved you. Now, what's funny, I work out of school right now, and the kids absolutely love me. So that's why I found this dream very interesting as well. And then he said, look at me. He said, look at me. I said, yes, you have a smoking hot wife, LOL. He told me to go tell what's to come, get out. As I got out, my aunt-in-law picked me up. She said, let's go to my mom's and see her. My daughter was with me. When we arrived, we went into the basement to see her. And the funny thing is, this is my house of the basement. This was in 2016. I didn't know I was anything about this house or its existence until 2020. Okay? So, tell me, she said, I was waiting on you. Tell me about June 3rd. I started to tell her, and my daughter climbed on her and sat beside her. She told her of her dream of God. I asked my aunt-in-law if she was saved and knew what's to come. She walked away, and that's when I woke up. So this is very, very important to understand, like I said, just because of dates. It's the events in there that's going to occur. The total solar eclipse, I 100% am sold since last year. For a while, I got on fire thinking the rapture was going to happen, but God kept telling me 2024, 24, 24, 24. And I said, okay. I truly believe hey! Sorry, my dogs are playing. Truly believe 2024 is when we are leaving. So, let me read you this information about this solar eclipse and why it's important. Also, remember in the book of Jonah, when God told, or the book of Jonah, Jonah. No, Jonah's not the book. Oh my gosh, you guys help me out here. I had a brain fart. Anyways, Jonah went to Nineveh, and he was supposed to tell them in 40 days it's going to be destroyed. What happened, there was an eclipse that happened, and darkness went over the land, and it made them repent. All right? Same thing when Noah's Ark went to occur, there was also an eclipse. And same thing when Jesus died, there was total darkness over the land. But remember, it said the sun will go down at noon. Now, get this. The earth shook, and guess what happened as Jesus died? The graves were open, and bodies rose up, and they walked on the earth. If that doesn't tell you something, I don't know what is. Now, signs of the tribulation, woe to the United States, the great X and Aleph sign of 3 intersecting eclipses. I have to read you this. When God wants to make a point to specific people, he will often use the heavens as signs to do so. Wherever that sign is seen, they are frequently recipients of either God's blessing or woes. In the United States, there are 3 huge solar eclipses that literally span the width and breadth of the entire country each time they are seen. 2 are full, 1 is annular or almost full eclipse. The first total eclipse was 7 years ago in 2014. Remember that 7 is God's number of completeness or judgment. 6 years later, on October 14th, 2023, another eclipse swept through the west coast to the Gulf of Mexico through Texas. The third eclipse will occur on April 8th, forming the huge X of the intersecting 2023-2024 eclipses. The strange thing is when all 3 paths are put together, they form a huge Hebrew alphabet symbol for the letter A, called an Aleph. It is sort of a sidewise A and stands for the beginning, the creation, the Alpha, beginning of Jesus' creations, with the opposite of that being the Omega. Jesus said he is both the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and of all things known to humans. The great X eclipse spot falls directly on the New Madrid fault line close to Carbondale, Illinois. I don't live too far away from that. This is where I believe that God will split open the U.S. with the earthquakes along with the Yellowstone. The east and west coast of the U.S. will probably be attacked by Russia and China, probably at the first 3 seals. Now, the center of the USA will be a judgment by God, rendering much of our nuclear silos out of commission since they are based in low populated central U.S. points. How many dreams have I posted about this, guys? Many, especially of NATO, Russia, China forces coming against America, wiping us out. Babylon gone, destroyed in 1 hour. Perfect timing. Revelation 12, Satan cast down to earth. Boom. That's when it all begins. Military, FEMA camps, all that. And what's going to happen, the whole 4 corners of America is going to be destroyed. That's why they have the illegal immigrants here. They're going to help set up these camps and to take people, and they're going to be hoarders and raiding your homes and things like that. And this isn't just conspiracy. Like, this stuff is actually going to happen. And then the fact that the earthquake, same with Jesus. And what is awesome about this eclipse, it's around the barley harvest. It is the first of the year and around Passover. Boom, bang, bop. There you go. How amazing is that? That is awesome. That just gives me chills just even thinking about that our God gave us these signs. The final warning for judgment to be here. Okay, so continuing. The good news to all is that the rapture will remove all the believers from harm, and God is proud of the last believers, an apostate, unbeliever, godless society. Okay, he will protect them by removing them. Okay, so I'm not going to continue reading this, but I do want to show you these pictures because you guys already know I'm not computer oriented. So this is what you get. Look at the big A that comes over the United States. And I don't have a colored printer, so what you see is what you get. Here's the other one. That's when the first 2 intersect. This is the third one that intersects. And guess what? My whole entire state can see it. And this one is, note that the safety parameter arc is exactly the same as the Eclipse arc of 2024. See all that? Wowzas. So, a couple other great things I wanted to mention was this. My husband's birthday is April 8th. He is going to be 37. Okay? 37 means my father is the dew, or a wife of David. Okay? But it also means counsel, by implication, or a council, a body of advisors or adversaries, or a court or a counselor, resolution or decree. Okay, so what's he saying? All right, and it is also, in the Greek, it means to make holy, purify or consecrate, mentally to venerate, hallow, be holy, and sanctify. Sounds like God's trying to purify and warn the people. Okay, and if you take 4/8, okay, the date, and you take my husband's date 37, it means comfort together. Come together, okay? And then 4837 also means pavement, almost like God is paving the road for us to leave. Okay, and my husband's name is Jeremy, and I don't know where I put that information, but my husband's name is Prophetic. Okay. Oh, that's what that was. My husband's name, Counselor. All right, which is Jeremiah. His name's Jeremy. So the other thing I want to say is, amazingly enough, the totality eclipse, which took place this last Monday across the continental United States, was not the end of the story. While eclipses of this magnitude are fairly rare occurrences, scientists tell us if you stood in one place on Earth, you would have to wait on average another 360 years until you saw another total eclipse. This time around is going to be different. A sequel is due a mere 7 years later on April 8th, 2024. And if you look at the Exodus, where it says about the 7 plagues, there were 7 years of good, 7 years of bad. I believe that we are in the 7 years of good. Now we're getting ready to be in the 7 years of bad. Not saying we, I'm talking about as a whole. And then it says that they seen it August 21st of 2017. The path of the eclipse went from northwest to southeast, from Oregon to South Carolina. And I also dreamt about that earthquake from the Carolinas, right? About my mom, taking her to her appointment, and then we ended up going to South Carolina, and the earthquake split all of America completely in half in a perfect X, which I know is this solar eclipse. All right, so now I want to read, okay, I've already read that. Here we go. So the okay, I got to read this. That exact point where the 2017 and 2024 lines of totality cross is Cedar Lake in Jackson County, just south of Carbondale. That geographic location has a name. It's called Little Egypt. How it got its name has a biblical source. It seemed in the mid-19th century there was a famine in northern Illinois. Thankfully, there was a bountiful harvest in the south. So the people of the north said that they felt themselves like the children of Jacob, who in the time of famine were forced to go down to Egypt to seek food for their families in Carbondale region, which saved their lives, became known to this day as Little Egypt. So I don't believe in coincidences, okay, whatsoever. But then it says that there is an important number associated with the Torah account of the Egyptian exile, and it was prophecy to Abraham that God informed our patriarch of the time that would first bring darkness to his descendants. You shall surely know that your seed will be strangers in a land that is not theirs, and they will enslave them and oppress them for 400 years. Genesis 15:13. All right, so a solar eclipse is predicted on that very number. The sun in the Bible told us is larger than the moon, and God made the two great luminaries, the large luminary to rule the day and the small luminary to rule the night. To be exact, okay, that was Genesis 1:15. To be exact, we know that the sun is exactly 400 times larger than the moon. How is it possible for the moon, so much smaller, to cover the sun to our eyes in an eclipse? That is because the sun is also 400 times further away from us than the moon. All right, there's a whole lot to this, but this video is going to run so long if I read all this. But my whole point to that is this. Have you guys looked at the usdebtclock.org? All right, if you have not, I recommend it. I will leave the link in the description box so you guys can click on it and hopefully open it. It says that when the debt reached 33 trillion, that's when the tribulation begins. Well, I personally printed off the page myself, and we are at 33,965,932,639,878. All of this around here is the debt of the United States. Okay, and in the middle of this, if you click on the top right, it says a secret window. It'll say, Thy kingdom come, and you see the Revelation 12 sign. Okay, and it says, Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. We see that the moon and under her feet and the crown of stars, okay? We know that the original Revelation 12 sign was September 23rd, 2017, and Jupiter is mirrored on the debt clock, okay? And it's not supposed to be there. Now, on 5/14, which is May 14th of 2017, is when the original one mirrored Jupiter was in the womb on Israel's birthday. So it's pointing to Israel's birthday, this clock, for the Antichrist deception. Now, I am not stating whatsoever that this is when it all begins. I am stating, though, that all of this is not coincidental. Okay? That we were given a time clock. We were given signs for the sun, the moon, and the stars. Okay? And all these prophetic events are leading up until now. I believe with all of my heart, this is the year we leave. I believe it could be by April. I do not know the day or hour, but I know that this eclipse is the last warning. And I believe that judgment is going to follow because of it. And if so, what perfect time would it be for it to be on Israel's birthday? It'll be their 76th year. So, yeah, I leave you guys with that, and know that Jesus is coming. He loves you. He loves me. And we don't have too much longer. Hold fast so no one steals your crown. Keep your oil. Okay? Keep your oil. Oh no, I can't let you go yet. I apologize. I forgot. I was going to tell you my point. So, Revelation 12, I was talking about the casting down. But if you read in Revelation 9:1 through 2, I have to tell you this. Then the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fallen from heaven to earth. To him was given the key to the bottomless pit, and he opened the bottomless pit, and smoke arose out of the pit like the smoke of a great furnace. So the sun and the air were darkened because of the smoke of the pit. This is talking about the Antichrist rising up, gaining his power for his 42 months. This is not the same time as the Revelation 12 sign. So that's how I know an eclipse versus wormwood has something to do with that. One is a call prior to, and the other is judgment during. So pray over this as always, and I will see you there in the air. God bless.